So UFC Fight Night, Diego Lopes versus Silva is this weekend, and I'm going to make a full card breakdown of this card. Starting off, Rodrigo Cecchinato versus Daniel Donchenko. I'm going to go with Rodrigo on this one. Why exactly? I just think he's a slightly better fighter. I feel like he faced better comp going from the records. Don't get me wrong, they're not the most high level of comp, but compared to Daniel Donchenko, they're a little bit better. Like, one of them was like 13-2, like 6-1, like records like that. They're not terrible compared to like Daniel Donchenko, which is like, I think one of them was like 23 and like 14, something like not too bad, but like it's not crazy either. And the other dude was like 6-6, so like he's not really facing the highest level of comp. Then again, Rodrigo is facing people from like BKF or something like that. I forgot, it was like the LFA, like something like that. It's not the most high level organization, so it's kind of like, oof, you taking hit or miss here from both sides, so it's kind of hard for me to pick. But I'm gonna go Rodrigo. I think he could grapple really well. I think he could get off his offense. Then again, Daniel Donchenko isn't that bad when it comes to the ground, but it just, I don't know if anybody he's faced is on the level of Rodrigo Cecchinato. However, I'm still worried though, because Rodrigo Cecchinato hasn't really been proven that much, because even though he has faced like kind of better opponents when it comes to records, Donchenko is not that bad. Like, he's a really good fighter, like what I've seen on him, but he has been dropped. He has been controlled in moments, but he always gets right back up. I just don't think he could do that with like Cecchinato. I feel like Cecchinato could sub you from that, or he could like kind of dominate you and get your back, stuff like that. That's why I think it's gonna happen. I might be wrong, but I'm gonna go in Cecchinato to win this fight, either by a sub in the first 2 rounds or a decision victory 2-1. That's how I think the fight's gonna go. Now moving on. Montserrat Randin versus Alice Pereira. I think I'm going to go with Alice Pereira on this one. I think she's a better fighter. Montserrat Randin, she's not that crazy good. Like, she's decent, but like, say somebody is going in the back foot, she does like try running in like Juliana Pena, which is kind of a bad move when it comes to being a good fighter to me. Like, I can't pick you if you're doing that as a fighter, unless you're really good at grappling. She can grapple in moments, but Alice Pereira is not that bad at grappling. She has grappled in her last fight, but then again, it was filmed on the phone. Like, there's not really that much tape of Alice Pereira, and she is kind of fighting buns, but she's like 6-0, so it's kind of hard for me to like judge because she's 6-0. But she has shown she's actually kind of decent on the feet. She can grapple, so it's like, just that alone, I'm gonna pick you over Montserrat Randin, where I haven't really seen anything that impressive other than maybe she got a takedown, and that was pretty much it. Like, I don't like how she strikes. She's kind of decent on the ground, but I'm not gonna pick you off of that, especially when Alice Pereira is actually kind of decent on both sides. So I'm gonna go Alice Pereira winning this fight by a decision, or maybe like a first round KO. Anyways, now moving on. Alessandro Costa versus Eldin Correa. I'm gonna go with Alessandro Costa. He's a good fighter. He's not that bad. He has some pop in his hands. He can grapple as well. There's a big factor here. Well, Eldin Correa isn't that crazy at anything what I've seen. He has some hands, but like overall, it isn't crazy. So he's from like the LFA, which isn't super impressive. Even though LFA has some good fighters that came to the UFC, there are also like a bunch of them. They're not that crazy good. Plus, I've seen the guys he fights. None of them are too bad, but none of them are really crazy either. So I'm going to go with Alessandro Costa just to beat him from experience, and also he's a decent fighter. He had like a decent fight with Steve Ercik, even though he kind of lost a little. Clearly, he still has some pop in his hands, and I think he will like probably KO Eldin Correa in like the first 2 rounds, maybe even get like a sub. I don't know, I can see him like winning like 3 different ways, but I'm gonna go first round KO for Alessandro Costa on this one. Anyways, now moving on. Zachary Reese versus Jadricus Dumas. I'm gonna go with Zachary Reese on this one. Why exactly? He's the dedicated fighter of the two. Like, he's actually actively training, unlike Dumas. Plus, he doesn't have to worry about court cases, or doesn't really have to worry about crime either. Like, Dumas has a lot of like trouble past, and recently he has been so-called jailed. So it's kind of hard for me to pick Dumas when like he's not even dedicated to the game, and he has problems going out outside the UFC. So it's kind of tough for me to pick Dumas, even though I do think Dumas is the better fighter of the two. Like, I really do think Dumas, if he was actively training and like is an athlete, like I do think Dumas would like beat Zachary Reese pretty easily. It just, I don't think he's dedicated right now. But then again, he might have extra motivation for this fight, but too risky for me. I'm not gonna pick Dumas, but if you guys want an underdog pick, Dumas will probably be a good one right now. So, but I'm gonna go Zachary Reese winning like a 2-1 decision. I can see him having to go early, but then he starts taking over, even though he does look like a victim. But I'm not going to stick too much on this, so I'm going to move on now. Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Gurul. I'm going to go with Gurul on this one. Why? I just think he's the better fighter slightly. I think he has better hands, even though I do favor Jesus Aguilar when it comes to the grappling. But in saying that, I don't think Jesus Aguilar is going to be able to hold down Luis Gurul. Like, Gurul is not that bad on the ground. Like, even in the Contender Series, he had really good scrambles. Even though he got taken down, he was able to get right back up. Not gonna lie, I was a little worrisome in the beginning, because when he was getting taken down, he did look a little tired. And I was like, oh no. But he was just being a little bit patient and not rushing to get right back up. Not in a bad way, like he's like playing guard or like he just letting the opponent just hold him down. He was just trying to look for the opportunity to get right back up. And also, I don't think Jesus Aguilar is able to compete on the feet really well, even though he's a little wild and has decent hands. Really? Not really. His decent hands. It's decent. But Luis Gurul is a little bit better on the feet. He's a little bit more crisp. He has crisp boxing. Plus, Luis Gurul is a little bit more tankier. He's a bigger dude compared to Jesus Aguilar. So it's kind of hard for me to pick Jesus Aguilar when he's not the bigger dude and he doesn't have better hands than Luis Gurul. So I'm going to go with Luis Gurul to knock out Jesus Aguilar in the first 2 rounds. I think he's going to get to him. Plus, one habit Jesus Aguilar also has, he goes for guillotines. That's a huge problem, especially like if the fight does get close, he's going to pull guillotine and Luis Gurul is going to be on top, like just holding him there or landing some shots, which wins them the round. Just saying. Now, moving on. Tatiana Suarez versus Lemos. I'm going to pick Tatiana. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, this is a really 50-50 fight. Not really in the way it's gonna come out, like in the fight. Like, it's either gonna be a domination for either the two or like a straight masterclass on the feet. Like, it's so hard because I could see Tatiana Suarez like ragdolling her and just keeping her on the ground, while like Lemos could like get back up, because Tatiana Suarez doesn't always just like ragdoll people, and she does kind of go for guillotines, Tatiana Suarez, and that is kind of concerning because then she could end up on bottom. But you know what? I'm gonna go Tatiana Suarez. Like, Weili is a little bit different compared to the other female fighters in this division. So I'm gonna go Tatiana Suarez to win like a 2-1 decision. Like she wins early, like she looks dominant in the first. The second one is a little tossy, but she still gets the takedowns, takes her down, and then kind of controls her for round 2. Then round 3, Lemos has some moments, has some strikes, but then gets either taken down or doesn't have enough time to capitalize. That's why I think the fight's gonna go. I'm gonna go Tatiana Suarez winning a 2-1 decision. Now moving on. Claudio versus Joaquim Silva. I'm gonna go with Claudio on this one. I think he's the better fighter of the two. Recently, he had a good performance against ZM. That's actually kind of impressive. Like, he was able to take him down, have control, even though ZM won. It's still impressive. While like Joaquim Silva hasn't really done anything recently. He did rock Artman for a moment. But however, if you ever watch a Joaquim Silva fight, he kind of just does the opponent game plan they prepared for him. If you know what I'm saying, like he kind of just does what the opponent was preparing to do to him, pretty much. So it's kind of hard for me to pick Joaquim Silva when knowing this. So I'm gonna go Claudio winning like a 2-1 decision. Like, I could see maybe Joaquim having a moment, like even rocks like Pueblas, but still, I'm still gonna go with Pueblas to win this fight. So moving on. Jose Medina versus Dusko. I'm gonna go with Jose Medina on this one. I think he's slightly better. Like, he's not way better than him, but like, he's tough and he could take damage. That's all I could say about him. He got KO by Gutierrez, which is not a bad loss. And Dusko lost to Reese. So I'm gonna go with Jose Medina to win this fight by decision. I don't think he's that good either. Like, this is kind of like a whatever fight. This is not crazy. Nothing's really gonna go on. I don't really think it's gonna be really much of a scrap. I just think he'll win. That's pretty much it. Now moving on. Diego Ferreira versus Alexander Hernandez. I'm gonna go with Diego Ferreira on this one. I know Alexander Hernandez did knock out Chase Hooper, which I picked, by the way. A lot of people weren't picking Chase Hooper to get KO by Alexander Hernandez, but good pick by me. However, Diego Ferreira is kind of a slightly more testosterone version of Chase Hooper and has better hands. Not as fast as a fighter. Then again, Chase Hooper isn't that fast either. That is worrisome though, because he could get KO early. Plus, he is old. He's like 40 years old. However, Diego Ferreira lost to like not that bad a comp recently, so I'm gonna go Diego Ferreira winning a 2-1 decision. I could see Alexander Hernandez having some moments early, but then Diego Ferreira starts taking over in round 2, control Alexander Hernandez and win off of that, I think. But then Diego Ferreira starts taking over, gets his takedowns and kind of control Alexander Hernandez, and even maybe he could even get a sub there. That's how I think the fight is gonna go. I got 2-1 decision over Alexander Hernandez. Diego Ferreira will win this fight. That's how I think the fight's gonna go. Now moving on. Also, I want to ask something before I actually move on. If we're gonna pick Alexander Hernandez, I recommend kind of doing it. I don't know. I could so see him chinning him in the first 2 minutes. It's too risky for me to pick because Alexander Hernandez has some wars with people. Like, you should be KOing Jim Miller. Like, I'm just saying. Like, I know I picked him to KO Chase Hooper, but like Chase Hooper isn't that crazy on the feet. At least Diego Ferreira has some hands, but he is slow twitch. He is kind of slow. If you ever watch his Benil Dariush fight, even though it was a decent scrap, they looked like old men out there. I recommend watching that fight back. It is crazy. These were... I'm not going to say nothing else. I'm going to move on now. Santiago Luna versus Lee. I'm going to go with Lee on this one. I think he's the... I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I never seen Santiago Luna ever fight in his life. So I'm just going off of Quang Lee just being the UFC. I'm not going to lie to you. By whatever he wants. I'm going to go with that. Quang Lee by whatever he wants. Now moving on. Nah, I'm serious. I never seen a Santiago Luna fight ever, so my bad on there. Now moving on. Kevin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. I'm gonna go with Kevin Gastelum to beat Dustin on this one. I don't think Dustin is that great. Like, he lost to GM3. I still think Kevin Gastelum is at least decent enough to like beat GM3. Kind of athletic, even though he's kind of chubby and arguably should be making lightweight. He's not that bad. His last victory was over D-Rod, and in his last fight against Joe Pyfer, he didn't do as bad as I remembered. Like, he did get dropped in the first 2 rounds, but like, he did try coming back in the third, and he was having moments in round 2 and 3, but he just didn't do enough. But still, it's still more impressive than what Dustin Stoltzfus has done recently, or pretty much in his career, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go Kevin Gastelum winning like a 2-1 decision. Actually, I could see him doing a unanimous, so I'm gonna go unanimous decision. Kevin Gastelum 3-0. I'm just gonna go 2-1 I'm just gonna be safe here. I don't know. I can see Kevin Gastelum getting a finish, but I don't know. It's just Kevin Gastelum does have struggle with like big dudes at middleweight, so maybe not. I'm gonna go with decision here. I'm gonna go Kevin Gastelum winning a decision here. He's gonna have a good moment. He's gonna get a victory, and everybody's gonna be celebrating. Now, moving on. Rafa Garcia versus Jared Gordon. I'm going to go with Jared Gordon to beat Rafa Garcia. I don't need no explanation. If you know Rafa Garcia, he has beaten only old people and arguably losing against them. So I'm going to go Jared Gordon to like school him. I'm going to pick a finish here. Then again, Rafa Garcia could survive, but like, I don't know. I just don't see him as good. And I have seen like old people almost like finish him. So I'm going to go Jared Gordon, like KO him in the first 2 rounds. I know Jared Gordon is not really a KO guy, even though he did KO Thiago Moises. I'm going to go with it. Screw it, man. Rafa Garcia is so trash, and I could see Jared Gordon finishing him. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. We are going to finish Rafa Garcia this weekend. That's what I'm going with. Let's go Jared Gordon. Now, moving on. Rob Font versus David Martinez. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen much of David Martinez. He has like 1 fight and is his debut, so I'm gonna go Rob Font to beat him, bro. Like, I know he didn't look that bad what I seen. Then again, I only saw the highlights. I didn't really watch the whole fight. I'm gonna watch it back, but like, it's too much too soon, bro. Like, you can't fight Rob Font after like a fight, and plus it was on short notice as well right now. So I'm gonna go Rob Font to win this fight. Like, even though David Martinez is not that bad, it's way too much too soon. I think Rob Font will win this fight. So I'm going to go Rob Font either finishing in the first 2 rounds or winning a dominant decision. That's my prediction for this fight. Now moving on to the main event. Diego Lopes versus Gene Silva. I'm going to go with Gene Silva, man. Even though I want Diego Lopes to win because Gene Silva is a Zionist and I don't really support that. I can't really see how the way like Diego Lopes wins, honestly. Like he has like one combination and I wish it would add like a leg kick or something, maybe even shoot a little bit more or even a jab. That's my problem with Diego Lopes. He has like one thing, and if it doesn't work out, he kind of gets schools, especially like if Silva is a really good counter puncher, and if you just keep coming forward, you're going to get countered badly, and that's worrisome for me. Plus, if you ever seen Alessia Grasso versus Natalia Silva, that's pretty much how the fight's going to go, honestly. Like there's literally a blueprint of this fight already happened. Like Alessia Grasso and Diego Lopes literally kind of fight similar, so it's kind of hard for me to pick Diego Lopes. Then again, Diego Lopes is better on the ground, but I don't really think he's going to be shooting in this fight. Hopefully he does, but then again, I don't really think he's going to get his offensive grappling really much on Gene Silva, especially his takedown defense looked really good against Bryce Mitchell, even though he was getting ragdolled by Charles Jourdain. I don't know, people could improve. So I'm gonna go with Gene Silva to beat Diego Lopes by decision. I don't know, maybe I could go KO. It's just hard for me to like see Diego Lopes be out cold in the third round. It's kind of hard for me to picture him just out cold. I don't think he's gonna be able to like KO, like flatline Diego Lopes, which is a big problem. But then again, he could. But I don't know, it's just Diego Lopes' head. It's kind of hard for me to see him like go flatline. Even though he has been TKO'd and finished before, it's just hard for me. So and I'm gonna go dominant decision here. I feel like he's gonna have struggle like trying to catch Gene Silva, and it's gonna be like a mouse game here, and Gene Silva might get caught once, but I think Gene Silva is going to recover and just win like a 4-1 decision. That's my prediction for this fight. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the video. I just want to add one more thing before we end it. I'm sorry for being inactive for a bit. Like I had some work, so it's kind of hard for me to like keep up. But I'm going to be back soon. I'm going to be making more videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to add. Like I'm sorry for not being as active as I wanted to be, but we're going to be back. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the video, and that's pretty much it.